as you allow yourself to rest in Shavasana. You may like to take your awareness to your body and your breath. Allow your eyes to close, or your gaze to drop. Sinking down into the earth. And experiencing yourself as limitless. As we are bound by this physical body, by our minds, by our energy, by our desires, likes and dislikes. But within that, we can imagine ourselves as being limitless. Sun says, be your own illumination. The lark says, sing your heart all day long. The stream says, do not stop for any obstacles. And the oak says, when the wind blows, bend. The sun says, be your own illumination. The lark says, sing your heart out all day long. The stream says, don't stop for any obstacles. The oak says, when the wind blows, bend. Take a comfortable, deep breath in. Sigh that breath away. And then you might like to gently stretch your body in any way that feels appropriate for you. Either elongating with arms over the head, legs outstretched, or hugging yourself, rocking from side to side, perhaps circling and massaging your lower back, pelvis. Squeeze yourself up into a ball, whatever feels appropriate for your body right now. Feeling what you've been doing today and how it feels to move, to come into your body, your breath, your energy, your mind. And then when you feel ready, you can roll yourself over and bring yourself up to sit or kneel for a moment. We're going to begin today's session with a high kneel. So hopefully knees will be all right for this. Obviously, if you find you need to pad up with your knees, then do so. And have your blanket beside you ready. You can pop it underneath your knees if you're on a harder floor, whatever you need. So we did a version of this last week, but if you feel you'd like to, this is a modification of that. So it's simply going from a high kneel, salute, into the cat and cow with the spine beginning to move. Moving carefully according to how your body's feeling. It may have not done much movement today, it might have done a lot. We'll begin high, so you can kneel up tall with your body and feel yourself grounded through your shins, through your feet, through your knees. Padding as you require. And then we can breathe in, lifting the arms either out to the side or up alongside our ears. Open the heart a little bit. Then we draw the belly back as we fold into our cat. Now remember, the arms need to drop underneath your armpits. You're looking towards your thighs. And then you lift the tail gently up, shoulders float away from the ears, and you look slightly forward. And you breathe out, draw the belly back up as you round your spine softly. You press down through those shins, feet, as you lift yourself into your salute. As you breathe out, you round once again, draw the belly back, hands coming underneath armpits, flowing through the front of your spine as you breathe in. When you're ready, abdominals, breathing out, lifting as you press down through those feet. And continuing 2 more times, working with your breath. Allow your spine to move maybe a little more as you continue. Fully engaging through those abdominals, pressing the hands and the shins and feet. Find your breath. When you've completed your last, you sink back into your kneeling. Or you can come to sit on one side or onto your bottom, whichever feels is right for you. So opening the body a little more. In a moment we're going to take a low lunge, so you may find that a blanket underneath your knee is more required for this because we're only going to be on one knee. For those who have issues with their knees, I'll show you an alternative. You might find this a different Simo stretch. It's a preparation for the next stretch, lying on your back. And you can bend both feet on the floor, and then you can begin to stretch. So if it's happy to, bring your leg in, take hold behind your leg, and you can hug it into you. And the other leg, if it's okay, is extended away. So you're getting a bit of a stretch, and you can slowly see where this leg will come to and how you can stretch through that leg away. And you can flex the foot to get more extension through that leg, as if you're doing the same sort of stretch, but without being on your knees. Those who are happy to be on their knees, coming up into your high kneel, if that's safe for you, and stepping one leg forward and moving the knee above the ankle, wiggling that knee back, flattening the foot if it's safe for you to do so, and extending into your low lunge. So you can drop the weight down onto your front leg if that feels good. It's compressing into the top of your leg. So switch legs so you can see it more clearly from this side. So you've got a fold at this hip and you're opening through the back leg. So explore that for yourself. Notice your breath flowing, gazing lightly forward. A sense of your heart lifting forwards and upwards. You can come onto fingertips. You can drop down a little bit onto your thigh and you can press a little more at the top of your leg. If you want to take a deeper bend, you can come on the inside of that leg and drop your body even further down. Of course, that may work for some and not for others. So being careful about how you go and how far you go. Observe your breath. Come out of this pose if you find it's becoming uncomfortable for your knee, either of them. You can take up the alternative pose. And slowly lifting the pelvis back. You might want to do a bit of a stretch on the front leg. You can lift the toes off and drop the body down, finding a stretch through the hamstring, a bit at the back of the leg, of the front one, before you move it out of it. And then gently release, coming to another high kneel. And taking yourself through to the other side, working safely for you. So remembering, if it's this knee that needs a bit of padding, put your padding underneath your knee to protect it. And you check in with opening through the front of the hip flexors there and folding onto the bent leg, the front leg. Check your foot, the front is working well, heel, outside edges, big toe, little toe edge. Dropping down more weight if it feels good. Experiencing that closing. And if the hip flexor is okay to close even more, you can come slightly on the inside of that leg if that feels good for you. That's Kevin is doing there. But if you need to stay up on top of your leg, of course, you'll do that whether you've got your fingertips out or not. And you're breathing. Allow your breath to flow. And you can slowly come back and stretching out that front leg as you come back. For those who are kneeling, feeling that stretch into the hamstring and the back of the calf perhaps. Toes off may make it there, toes down may make it stronger. Dropping the body down may make it stronger. And then lifting yourself out, coming back to high kneel and resting into a child's pose if that's comfortable for your knees, or lie on your back and bring your knees onto your chest. Taking a moment to rest, to experience your body. If having your knees bent onto your chest or underneath you is uncomfortable, simply lie back into Shavasana. So everybody's coming onto their backs now. And if you think you might require one, or you have one to hand, you can grab your belt. You may not all need them, but you may want it depending on length of legs, arms, things like that. So you can have it near you, ready to grab if you find it is needed. Then lying down with your back flat on the floor, your knees bent, feet on the floor, into what we call constructive rest. Arms resting comfortably down, maybe back of the arm on the floor so that palms are facing up. So in constructive rest, taking a moment to experience your body. Having your belt, if you need it, within reach. And then bringing the right knee onto your chest. And you can take hold behind it, behind the thigh, behind the knee, and hold it there for a moment. Bring your awareness to your heel and the sit bone. So if you find it hard to grab, you'll put your belt around the back of that thigh, and perhaps your elbows can be on the floor. You're holding your belt comfortably. Of course, if you are needing support for your head in this position, you will have your support for your head so that you avoid having your chin up and your neck, throat strained. And then bring your awareness to your heel and your sit bone as if you had a string of elastic there. Begin to stretch that piece of elastic, slightly straightening your leg until you feel a stretch in the back of that leg. So you haven't strained it, you can have it straight or nearly straight if that's possible for you. If the leg has gone beyond your pelvis, like my leg is now, that's not appropriate. Bring it back and bend the knee. So your heel is as far as you're able to above your buttock, sitting bone, or in front of it, so that if you can straighten your leg, it will be above it. If it's not possible, the knee will be bent, and you may still hopefully feel a stretch at the back of this thigh. That's where you're looking for some stretch. Breathing, staying with that stretch. So you're holding either hands either side, behind, whatever gives you a good stretch. And some of you may choose to put the belt actually on top of the sole of your foot, if you'd like it like that instead. That's another option. If it feels safe, you have a straightish leg and you wish to, nothing changing, you could slide the other leg away, but only if that relieves you and potentially increases the sensation in the back of your hamstring. If it doesn't increase it, then I would suggest you remain with that foot, opposite foot on the floor. As you hold, notice the stretch. If the stretch begins to diminish, you may find you have more space to push your heel a little higher. Not fine, stay where you are. You could even bend your knee a little bit to release it. Pause for a moment and then softly press it back up again. Take 3 more breaths here. Beautiful deep breaths. The pelvis as flat as you can have it. Then softly bending that leg that was straight and place the foot on the floor. And if you wish, slide both legs away to release. As you rest, as you observe in between, without judgment, you will hopefully experience a sense of a difference in each leg. One leg may feel longer than the other. Bending both legs, feet on the floor once more into constructive rest. Invite the other leg in, and again you can take hold with the hands or the belt and simply invite it in to begin with, settling your pelvis out nice and square. Bring your awareness to your sit bone and your heel, and pressing the sit bone down and the heel up, can I find some stretch at the back of that leg? So no matter how bent your leg is, you've got your sit bone and your heel in alignment, you are working well. So either the belt can be behind the thigh, the hands can be alongside the thigh, or the foot can have this belt over the top like a stirrup to support your leg. Checking in. If you find any discomfort at the top of the leg, drop that pelvis down. See if it's possible to move that stretch into the back of that leg, the hamstring area. Feeling that stretch, stay. If that stretch starts to ease a little, you could heel, go back a bit, or slide the other leg away. If the sliding of the other leg away is too intense, then please stay with the leg bent. Back of the neck long, breath flowing. So if you need to remember, you can bend that knee slightly, find the sit bone again, push the sit bone down, heel up. If you are able to keep the sit bone down and you want to increase that stretch, move the heel a little closer. But if the pelvis comes up too, leave it back where it was. Couple more breaths where you are. And then softly releasing the strap and the leg. And happy to slide them both away, experiencing the sensations. Moving into some bridge work now. And we're going to move on the exhale. So if you'd like to bend your legs and place the feet so the heels come comfortably underneath your knees, not too close to your bottom, not too far away from your bottom. As we push down through the feet, we find our pelvis easily, comfortably rises. Everybody's slightly different with this one. Logistics-wise, so see where you're at. Palms can be on the floor beside you. Knees hip width apart, feet hip width apart. If you find you have restrictions, walk your feet further apart, turn your toes out, take your knees with you. That will give you more space to lift the pelvis and open. We're looking for some stretch through the quads, the front of the thighs, beginning to loosen those up, as well as through the hip flexors, and of course, massaging and working with the spine. As we stay where we are, that's going to be breathing in. When we breathe out, we'll lift the pelvis, take the back into whatever arch it can. And as we stay, we'll breathe in, and then we come down on a breath out. So moving when we breathe out. What I'd like you to do, we're going to do it 4 times initially. So I'd like you to work gradually. And the first one, as you breathe out, you go most of the way, but not all of the way you could go. And then you come down on the next exhale. So you're staying as you up while you breathe in. And then the second time, go a bit further, third time a bit further, and the last time to your max. Now, if you get to your max before the last one, that doesn't matter, you can just repeat it. So working with your own body, your own breath, find the floor, find your shoulders, upper arms, take a deep breath in. As you breathe out, press down through your feet and go some of the way, maybe into a straight line from knees to armpits. Stay to breathe in. As you breathe out, find those vertebrae and move them down like a pearl necklace, one pearl at a time. As you're down, breathe in fully, deeply. When you're ready, breathe out and go a little higher than a straight line. Find the shoulders, keep the shoulders still, deep breath in. As you breathe out, rolling yourself down once more. Engage those abdominals to control the lowering down. You'll stay down to breathe in, resting. When you're ready, you'll power up once more, breathing out. Use the buttock muscles, the feet, outside edges, shoulders, arms. You maybe go a little higher, stretch those thighs. Staying to breathe in. Rolling slowly with your breath out, down to the floor, pearl by pearl. Breathing in on the floor, last time, as far as you can go. As you rest, pause. Notice the body. And then you may like to make those robot arms, bending at the elbows, forearms up towards the ceiling, either palms towards each other or make fists if you prefer. So that this time as you go up, you can check your feet. If you want to go higher, walk your feet out a little bit, turn your toes out, take the knees with you. Beautiful deep breath in. On the breath out, press down through the upper arms, shoulders, feet, and be as wide and as high as you can. Hold for a few breaths. As you breathe out, find those glutes, those buttock muscles, those feet, and push through the upper arms, shoulders, feet. Make it as powerful and strong as you can. Come down if you need to on an exhale before. 2 more breaths if you can stay up there. Power up as you breathe out. Deep breath in as you stay and hold. Your last exhale, release the hands, shoulders, spine, buttocks, legs. And you can slide them away. Let go. Enjoy the space you've created across the pelvis. Perhaps you're able to experience it in your thighs, maybe the back. Be closing the eyes and breathing. The next practice is to explore length through the side of the body. And we're going to take it through rotation. Subject to your legs, body, you may find that you want or need some support, some cushions, bolster, blanket folded, something, I don't know. So if you think that may be an issue, if you're a little bit tight along the outside edge of the leg, or rotations tend to be challenging for you, you often have a bolster beside you, you may want to explore that. If you'd like to see what we're going to do, then you could sit up and have a little look first. We're taking our legs, if we're able to, into the figure 4 pose. We're leaving the left foot on the ground and crossing the right foot over, above the knuckle bones so you don't press it into them. And this is from where we're going to rotate from. We're aiming to keep that knee, right knee, away from us. The first way we're going is to the left, so that the sole of the right foot is going to end up on the floor as we take that right foot to the floor. So I'll show you what that's going to look like. We're going to rotate the pelvis so the sole of the foot comes to the floor, and we push that right knee away. You can use the opposite hand if you wish. Then the other arm is going to be, you can take it up to the ceiling and then drop the shoulder down and float it out to the side. I think I'm going to change sides just to show you what that looks like. So you can see it from the other side. So the arm goes up, then the shoulder drops, then the elbow drops, and then the forearm drops. And that's where your arm is. And because your legs are the other side, you can turn your face, if it's comfortable, to look away from your legs. This is part one. So this is A. And then B is going to be with the legs as they are. They don't change shape. So the right ankle is still over, and we drop the front of your thigh as far as possible to the floor. And you'll keep the other leg up. Toes will be up, but the knee may not drop initially. And our aim is to push this foot higher, further forward. Please be careful of your knees, ankles, and everything else. Go where you can go. If that is okay, or you could prop up with a bolster or something underneath this thigh. Otherwise, as we stay, we're going to eventually let that leg drop. And the weight of this foot, lower leg, will pull on here and create a lovely stretch. If it's too intense, please pad up underneath. So you can use your blankets and things as extra padding so the floor is less far away. All right, so coming back to center, if you're experimenting with me, that's fine. Otherwise, starting from the top. So arms out to the side to begin with. Cross your right ankle over your left thigh, resting comfortably. If you find this is not possible for you, simply go into your own lying twist version. And when you're ready, you let that right foot float to the left side of the body, and you place your left hand, if you wish to, on that inner thigh to push that knee away. The left leg is just resting down, still attached to your ankle. The head can turn to the other side. If you'd like to, you can put your right arm up to the ceiling, and then begin to drop shoulder, elbow, wrist, and turn to look at that arm. So allow yourself to breathe there. Experiencing the rotation, shoulders staying still, pelvis is rotated to the left. So where are you experiencing this stretch? Be safe. Sole of that right foot is on the floor. Sole of the foot. Whole sole if you can, and push that right knee up to the ceiling. Up to the ceiling, push it away from you if you can. Sole of the foot on the floor. You may want to use your left knee to push that foot further up towards you. It depends on your body. Please avoid damaging knees, hips. Deep breaths. Breathe into your right side. If you'd like to help your right side to breathe, you could take your right fingers and bring your thumb to your little finger and ring finger and leave the other two fingers open. Palm of the hand on the floor. That's Prana Mudra and will help you to breathe into those right ribs. So this is gesture, thumb, first finger, ring finger, two fingers. That's like a victory sign. Two more breaths with your legs this way, keeping them the same when you lift them back to the middle. So releasing the left hand, head to the center. Ease the legs, use your abdominals to back center. Do not change legs. And if it's safe for you to do, bring that right top of the thigh to the floor. You may need to walk the left foot up to get it down. And the toes may still be on the ground here. So you may not get, the left leg is not intended to be on the ground at the moment. The main aim is to get the sole of the right foot up towards the ceiling as high as it will go without breaking of knees or ankles. Check in with your own body, experience it for yourself. And if you fancy, you send your left arm up to the ceiling, drop your shoulder blade, elbow, wrist, and turn your head. If it's comfortable for you, that arm could drop slightly overhead if that stretch is appropriate for you. Checking in. Deep breaths. You can make your left hand now into prana mudra if you wish. Thumb to ring finger, little finger, other two fingers open like a victory sign, and the arm outside or above your head. Take a few more breaths here like this. You can walk that knee further up towards the right if you wish. And for those who are able to, drop that left foot, flatten on the floor. Right foot is resting on top of it and increasing the stretch through the outside edge of your body, the lateral edge of your body. The left side. Surrender as far as you can. Of course, you could be using props underneath your left knee if you need to. Avoid strain in your groin. Move things around. Let them be. Go into a simple line twist if that's where your body wishes to take itself to. And already releasing the arms slightly down. Press on that left foot, bring yourself back to the middle. Release the right foot, slide the legs away. Experience your body. You probably know what props you need or might need. It may be different for the other side. In your own time, bending both legs, feet on the floor. Left ankle across right. So you're heading to the right first. So invite that left foot to find the floor or its support. You can drop the other foot. You can use the right leg to push the left leg a little higher if you want a different stretch. Your right hand can push the inner thigh away. And your left arm can go up to the ceiling, sky, drop the shoulder, drop the elbow, drop the wrist, and turn the face perhaps to look to the left, surrendering. So if you have a nice extension opening through the left side of the body, you could adopt prana mudra to encourage the breath into the side. Using ujjayi, for those who know. Pressing the left thigh away as far as is appropriate for you to find the right stretch. Soften the body. Surrender into the hold if it's comfortable enough to do that. Be aware, change what you need to be comfortable. And releasing your mudra, engaging the abdominals, arms down, bringing yourself back to the middle. Keeping the leg like it is, checking through the front of the thigh, walking it up and laying that thigh as close to the floor as you can. So the toes of in my case, the right foot is pushing the left foot up towards the ceiling. And then I may like to drop my right arm out to the side as we did before, or overhead, making your prana mudra, thumb to little and ring finger, first and second fingers out. Head turning to the right, breath into the right ribs. So we're only focusing the mudra on the side that is open, because otherwise we're asking the breath to go to a space that's not so much there. We're quite compromised in the twist side we've twisted towards. See if you can allow that pelvis to let go towards the left. And if it's possible, you can let that right foot go higher towards the ceiling. Sorry, left foot to go higher towards the ceiling. If your head, neck come comfortable, turned to the right, of course it can be in the center or even turned to the left. And we're using supports as you require them. And finally, for those who wish to, you can either take that foot off, or you can rest the other one or flat on the floor, instep, and let the left foot drop and press lightly onto, weighing down the right thigh. So this can be a nice comfortable stretch through the IT band, which runs from your outside of your hip to below the knee. You won't be able to get below the knee because you have the knees bent. Deep surrender. Breath to the right ribs. And then when you feel ready, releasing your mudra. Slowly bringing your legs back to center, carefully using your abdominals, releasing that crossover and sliding the legs away, the arms away. Finding yourself back into your Shavasana and let it go. Experiencing the sensations. Whether you did a simple twist or that figure four twisting, rotation to slightly stress those hip flexors and external hip rotators, IT bands. Notice the sensation after you finish. And to invite the body to explore its back bending abilities now. I'm going to offer you some choices because it depends on what you've been up to, what your life has included recently, and what would be appropriate for your body. And when you feel ready, you can roll yourself over and perhaps bring yourself up to sit for a moment. Or you can cross-legged or whatever you want to do. As we explore whether it's appropriate for us to perhaps take up our Sphinx or our seal. So if we're feeling a little rounded in the upper back, we could do the elbows further forward and supporting and moving the upper body, and then move into the Sphinx after that. For those who would like to, we've done some extension stretching through the quads. They might like to take themselves into a full saddle. So those who are going into a full saddle, you can use your bolsters if you've got your bolsters handy, remembering that you can make a bolster out of your blanket and some pillows if you don't have a bolster at home. I can explain that at another time. Those who are doing this might want padding underneath their ankles. You could sit on your heels, take your knees slightly apart, and you can lie yourself back over your bolster. Use other blankets and things for your head as you require, so you're avoiding straining. Those who A, don't have a bolster, or B, don't feel that that's appropriate for them, Can come to lie on their front and rest for a moment with their forehead down. Before perhaps coming up to rest the forehead in the hands, elbows forward, breastbone dropping down, finding some back bend in the upper back, keeping that gentle extension through the upper spine. Resting on the ribs to start with, feet can be wider apart if they need to. If you tend not to have a rounded upper back, then you may choose not to start there and to start in your Sphinx with your elbows underneath, resting the pelvis firmly on the ground, palms either together or out, palms down in front of you. So you might begin with the Sphinx and let the body settle there for a beginning. So as you are either in the very low version, working the upper back for those who tend to have a rounded back, or the higher version, the elbows, you can rearrange yourself so the shoulders are able to go down and the heart is gently looking forward to that throat, the face. And your breath is flowing. Those of you in the saddle, checking you are safe and appropriate. The arms could drift out to the side, allowing you to expand and open your chest a little more. That felt appropriate for you. Those in Sphinx, if it becomes evident that your lower back is okay right now, you might want to travel into your seal, lifting the elbows up. Remember, you can always do seal with hands further forward, but if that puts too much pressure on your lower back, please come back down to your Sphinx and stay there instead. You stay in this position for a few more minutes if that is appropriate for you. And at any time, whether you're in saddle, Sphinx or seal, please come out of it as your body dictates. If you're in seal and it gets too much, come back into Sphinx. If it becomes too much, you can drop back down with the ribs and let your head rest once more into your hands. Walk those elbows comfortably forward, drop the shoulders down. Stay there. Or you can rest with your head on your hands into crocodile and practice your breathing. Allow yourself to breathe. So settling deep into whichever position you have chosen for yourself. You've got 45 seconds to go if you're safe there. What's your breathing doing? You may find it accessible to breathe in and hold your breath in for a moment, but only if your blood pressure and all that is fine. And from there, slowly coming back to rest on your front with your head on your hands if you're on your front. If you're not, slowly bring yourself up from your saddle, and you might want to go very slowly into your child's pose. Those of you who have been on your front, when you feel ready, press those forearms, engage the abdominals, lift your pelvis and walk your elbows back. Find your buttocks, come to your heels, or roll onto your back and find your way safely into a hug instead. Use the earth to press down, to either roll yourself up or peel yourself up. And then we're going to extend our legs out in front of us, coming into a forward, seated forward bend as a opposite to that. You may want a bolster if you have one handy, or a pile of cushions or something. For those whose legs are unhappy in this position, you could be in your butterfly if you prefer. Place the hands behind you initially and feel as you push with the floor, can you find a space where you can have your heels down and your pelvis coming forwards? So rather than having your belly dropping back, we're lifting the hip flexors, front of the pelvis forwards, closing at the front of the thighs. So if that's easy for you, you may find you can go further, otherwise you could stay here for a moment. Perhaps you're experiencing a stretch on the inner thighs, that's also what we're looking for, soles of the feet up towards the sky. And then you can release the hands if it's safe for you to, folding from your pelvis, and let your chest come forward between your thighs a little bit. Checking in, use your breath. So we're down on the earth, we're grounding ourselves to our sit bones, working towards the front of the sit bones. You need a little support underneath your knees. If you have knees that tend to go too close to the earth, then please feel free to put something under there. Or you can bring your bolster in front of you and rest your forearms on there and slowly round your body down. Or perhaps use your bolster to support your forehead and rest your head on that. So whatever works for you, taking yourself as far as is safe and appropriate for you to go and be easily comfortable. Allowing your breath to flow. As you stay, notice if the body is okay, happy to be there. It needs to come back a little bit, or it's happy to go a bit further. Snap on the back of the neck. Deep breath in. Is there any more space for you to come further forward without straining anything? And deep breath in. Press down through the sit bones as you slowly roll the body up. You can move objects out of the way. Bring your legs back. Perhaps bend your legs up and give yourself a little hug if that's appropriate, or the arms can come behind underneath the knees. So finally coming to a comfortable upright kneeling or sitting position. You might want to use your bolsters, your blocks, your cushions, or a chair if you prefer. Let's move on to a chair that you can be upright on. Take a moment to experience your body. You may want to wriggle and wiggle a little bit, or lean back a little bit after our forward bend. You can take a short breathing practice. And with it, we're going to use a movement, a gesture. It's called a nyasa, and it's a way of fixing our attention on our body. So with your right hand, you're going to place your thumb at the base of it, base of your first finger. And you'll run up your first finger to the tip of it as you breathe in, and back down to the base of it as you breathe out. I'm going to move forward so you can see that. So the thumb comes to the base. As you breathe in, you'll run up the finger to the tip. As you breathe out, you'll run down to the tip. And then with the other hand, you'll breathe in up to the tip. As you breathe out, back down to the tip. And then with both, breathing in, breathing out. Right hand in. As you breathe out, flow down. Breathing in with the left thumb up, first finger. Breathing out, both together. And if you can, you're going to rest the hands on your lap and continue that. Breathing in, right thumb up, back down on the breath out. Other hand. Moving slowly with your breath, then both together. Slowly up to breathe in and down as you breathe out. You might find it helpful to count as you breathe to 3, 4, or 5. It's taking 4 to 5 part numbers as you go up, 4 to 5 as you come down. The aim is to slow it down if you can. Slower in, up the right. Same length of time down with the breath out. If you lose track, simply begin again the right. Stay with the practice. No rush. Slow it down. Relax the shoulders and the jaw. Effortless breathing. One more round, ending with both together. Bring all the fingertips to your thumb except the little finger. Leave the little finger straight. Relax the hands can rest on the thighs, palms facing upwards. Thumb touches first finger, middle finger and ring finger. Hansi Mudra. The gesture of the inner smile. This gesture helps us to develop positive qualities, a positive outlook, to be more accepting of our situation. Notice your inner smile reflected on your face. Aware of your breath. Perhaps your exhale is able to be just a little longer, without force. Letting go of tension and anxiety. Unfolding positive qualities within you. And drawing the palms of the hands to your heart. The Anjali Mudra, the gesture of reverence. May I be filled with loving kindness. May I be well. May I be peaceful and at ease. May I be happy. Hariom Tat Sat. Namaste.
Namaste.